Okay, three things we want to talk about. One of the first ones is choosing your plant or your medicine. Okay, and I'm going to talk about three. Hape is also spelled rape. Okay, and I remember when I first was doing research, I saw rape, and I didn't really pay attention to the accent mark over there, and I'm like, a rape ceremony. I don't think I need to go to that, but luckily I kept reading, and I learned more about what it was. So I'm going to talk about rape, ayahuasca, and bufo. So rape, pronounced hape, is traditional snuff. Now, again, I didn't know the variations of medicines and healing modalities that existed out there. But tobacco is one of the oldest medicines that we know of. Okay. And so they take this and they grind it up into a very fine powder with different herbs and ashes. And you typically take it through your nose. And so it has been known to have considerable potential therapeutic properties. And so you put a pea size in your hand when you're first starting out, you smooth it out. I actually have my device right here. You scoop the medicine in there and you see the lady on the bottom. You put it in your nose and you blow, and it shoots the tobacco into your nose. Now, for some people, this is a bit much. And they say it's kind of like mouthwash for the brain. It induces a state of heightened awareness and presence, and it kind of grounds you and gets you ready for the ceremony. So oftentimes, this is a practice done prior to the start of a ceremony. And in some places, I've actually done it in the middle of a ceremony if I couldn't necessarily connect with the medicine because I was in my own way. Okay. Now, ayahuasca. You hear about ayahuasca, but it's not a single thing. It's a brew made from two different vines, and one of those vines has an active compound called DMT. Now, DMT already exists in our body. Okay, it's been said that we experience DMT twice in our life: when we're born and when we die. It is a natural compound that already exists, similar to how marijuana naturally reacts to some of the inhibitors in our brain. We already have the receptors that are designed to work with these plants that God gave us: science, religion, spirituality. And so the name ayahuasca comes from aya, which means the spirit or dead, and huasca means vine. Okay, so it's the spiritual vine, if you will. And so when you take a ceremony, typically you're in a big circle and you have guides there who are there to help you go through. And so shamanism or shamans is one of those things you probably heard people talk about. And that's just somebody who's deeply rooted in the medicine. A lot of times they grew up with the medicine their entire lives and they never really left the medicine. So they stayed in the jungle, continue working and praying and harvesting. Okay. And so plant spirit medicine like ayahuasca is the actual plant. And so it's brewed over the course of days, sometimes week, and the guides are always praying over the medicine. So when they know you're participating, they're typically praying with the intention of you in mind to get the holistic healing that ayahuasca brings to the table. And so it's been linked to physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects of healing in a person's life. And so when you take ayahuasca, you typically take it in a brew. Okay. And it's not a free for all. You typically go to your guide, they give you a cup, you take it, and you go back to your seat and you wait. And so it has some purification properties as well. And some of you might do some research and you hear about the purging. And at first, when I first learned about that, I'm thinking that was a bad thing until I started to practice with the medicine more and I learned more about purging. And purging comes in different forms. It can be crying, sweating, it can be through moans and groans, it can be through vomiting, it can be through pooping. But all of that is to help unlock and purify your body. And now you're lighter. You're lighter in energy because you're a lot closer to the divine than you were when you were grounded. So you had to get a lot of stuff out of the way. And so when you think about the healing aspects on your spiritual journey, ayahuasca can facilitate the spiritual growth by allowing you to access a higher state of consciousness. It's higher. It's connected to that mythical being, that higher version of you, that God version of you that is spiritual.